Greetings, everybody. I hope you're well. And I just wanted to just say a couple of things really quickly here about this new administration. They have hit the ground running here in the United States. We've got President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. They have had their first full day in office. And my goodness me, they've already accomplished a whole load of things. I mean, 25 executive orders in just over 25 and a half hours of Joe Biden's term in office. I mean, it's a really fast start, bringing the United States back into the Paris um, Climate Accord, getting rid of this racist Muslim travel ban, and I mean, there's just so many other things. Restoring DACA. This is the tip of the iceberg. Getting rid of the this border wall project and getting rid of that. I mean, there's just so many other things that already Joe Biden has done in literally a day and a half now that you can tell there's changes, and that's a very good start. But what are we doing? I mean, that's the central question and point of doing this particular video, is to challenge us, all of us, myself included, to actually be proactive during these 4 years that are coming here. Because when President Obama was in office, and I talked about this on the episode of the Politicrat Daily podcast that I will be attaching to this video, we fell asleep for 8 years. Most of us did not protest anything that President Obama did that we may have disagreed with. And there were things he did that I disagreed with, but I can tell you that I wasn't consistently raising questions about him and doing things that I should have done. There are a couple of times I did, but unless you were Code Pink, and it's funny, I'm wearing this T-shirt that I designed in homage to Code Pink, really, because they were one of the organizations. There were others, but they were one of the few organizations that I constantly saw here in San Francisco and on television in places around the country that would always protest things that were not good for the country, no matter who was doing it, whether it was Obama or W or the guy that's just left office, whomever. And that's really the way it's got to be. They are a proactive, well organized group, Code Pink. And so, I salute their activism. But what about our activism? What about that? What are we doing on a daily basis for a few minutes of our busy lives? Even during this pandemic, what are we doing to be proactive? We have a golden opportunity here. President Biden is not being proactive, reactive at all. He's being proactive. He's hit the ground running. He's already putting an agenda in. But what is your agenda? Particularly if you voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, what's your agenda? And one of the things I talk about on the podcast, which is a daily podcast called The Politicrat, is about the importance of organizing an agenda, 2 or 3 issues that you hold dear, and making sure you get a coalition of people or just a couple of people together with you to articulate a vision, to present that vision, or if you want to do it by yourself, present a vision to those in power and say that, look, I voted for you, Joe. I voted for you, Mr. President, but this is what I want to see you do. And you start to lobby President Biden. And he already accepts that groups of people, now he and everybody calls them special interests, but he accepts that he's going to be lobbied. He's already been lobbied by Wall Street. I assure you, they are not resting on their laurels and going to sleep. He's already been lobbied by all of these industries, big pharma, all of these places. I assure you, they are not sleeping during this 4-year term. So why should we? We shouldn't. We have every reason now to be active and proactive. I assure you, the Republican Party is not resting on its laurels. even as they were at the inauguration yesterday. You don't believe that they were plotting and planning and organizing and strategizing for next year, let alone 2024? Of course they were. They wasted no time in attacking President Biden. Within 6 hours of him entering office, tweets were flying from Ted Cruz, of all people, who was at the inauguration. I mean, Ted Cruz should be behind bars, certainly prosecuted for his role in the terrorist attack of January 6th. But my whole point here is, what are we doing? We must not wait until a crisis unfolds for us to then call our senators and congresspersons. We should be putting forth our agenda right now and putting it forth to President Biden and Vice President Harris. And we really do need to be aggressive about that, because these terrorists were very aggressive and criminal, of course, and murdering. They put their point across and did it extremely violently. And I hope that they are all prosecuted in the most clear cut and profound ways. They need to be prosecuted severely for what they did 2 weeks ago. And yes, it was a terrorist attack. It was not on the scale of what happened nearly 20 years ago in September of 2001. But I'm telling you, this was an attack on the government of this country. And that's pretty damn serious. That's sedition. That's treason. That is a violent insurrection. And I would rank that as a very serious thing. I hope you would too. But these are people making their mark violently and dangerously. We can make our mark and will continue to make our mark with non-violence. We will be peaceful, as we always have been. All we have to do is organize peacefully as we do and take down these two phone numbers, 202-224-3121 and 202-225-3121. And very simply, call those numbers, that's the DC Congressional switchboard, and ask to speak to a senator or to a congressperson. You only get to speak to one person per request. Of course, you're not going to get through directly in 99.999% of these cases to an actual congressperson or senator that you wish to speak to, but you will likely get through to either an answering machine, in which case you should leave the message, or through to an aide of the particular politician you're looking to talk to. Be respectful of the person, no matter whom it is or no matter what, whether it's a voicemail that you have to leave. Be respectful, but make your point clear. There's so many things that we need to get going on right now for our agenda, particularly if you want a progressive, forward-thinking agenda. If you care about women's reproductive rights and their autonomy, then you need to get involved now. Don't wait until the Supreme Court takes up something that may overturn Roe v. Wade. I mean, we're very close to yet another year anniversary of that Supreme Court decision. It's coming in the next few days. So, we should not wait until the United States Supreme Court is entertaining a case that could get rid of Roe v. Wade before we start to get active. We need to push an agenda now and push it upon senators, House members, and upon the President of the United States. We need to do that. We need to lobby them. We have the leverage, 81.2 million of us. So there's no reason why we can't do this. We should not just sit back and say, ooh, look at what's going on. We need to impact what is going on. And we do that by making our voices heard, by emailing, phone calling, social media, writing letters, making videos, sending those videos on social media to these politicians. They serve us. They serve us. And so it's very important that we participate And it doesn't have to be an hour-long thing or even 2 hours. It can just be 15 minutes of your day. It could be 5 minutes making that phone call, leaving a voicemail with a congressperson or senator. Tell them that you liked something they did and tell them when you didn't like something that they did. Tell them that you want them to vote a certain way on some issue, or else you're going to withhold your vote the next time they run for something, run for another term. You have that kind of power. You showed it last year in the presidential election, and you showed it, particularly if you were in Georgia, you showed it earlier this month. So you do have the power. Your vote counts. And if it didn't count, you wouldn't have Republicans across the country trying to make it harder for you to vote. You wouldn't have Republicans trying to steal your vote, trying to suppress your vote. So make sure you take this opportunity now to get active. There are so many issues. We've got an impeachment trial that Mitch McConnell, who is now the minority leader, now wants to delay. He's in the minority. He's basically on bended knee now. Oh, we need to delay this trial. Why? Why do we need to delay the impeachment trial? I mean, this guy was ramming through Supreme Court judges in the middle of an election year. He wasn't concerned about waiting. He only waits when it suits him, like when Merrick Garland is waiting to be heard from, and 11 and a half months or so pass by. That's what Mitch McConnell wants. And I suggest to the majority leader, Senator Chuck Schumer, to disregard Mitch McConnell. We have a mandate, we have an imprimatur, we have an agenda. And if I were you, what I would do would be to lobby Senator Schumer, Leader Schumer, the majority leader, right now. He's on Twitter, SenSchumer, Sen Schumer. Tweet him and tell him, look, stand firm. Do not delay the impeachment trial of Donald Trump. Don't delay it. This guy's committed crimes. I think it's pretty darn clear. It's on video. Incitement to insurrection. That's what he was impeached for. And there's not a great level of evidence that needs to be had or captured. It's all on video. Go Google it. Go on YouTube. It's right there. Search C-SPAN. I mean, there's not like there has to be this big evidentiary inquiry or discovery. There doesn't need to be discovery documents. There don't have to be any legal discovery whatsoever because everything is right there. So we have to act. There's the Senate impeachment trial. There's all these other issues that stand of great importance. Issues just waiting to be addressed. We have to address them. There's Medicare for all. We need to renew the pressure on President Biden about that. I know that he's against it. Same thing with the Green New Deal. We need to keep lobbying. And yeah, I get it. He had a meeting a couple of months ago or a few weeks back with a number of Black community leaders. And it was very clear, along with some progressives that he met with, that he wasn't going to be doing certain things. Well, don't take that for anything. You need to keep pushing. That's how Dr. King and many others in the civil rights, human rights movement got what they wanted, and they had to march for it. Some of them had to, I mean, some of them died before LBJ decided to, oh, I'm going to now sign the civil rights law, or I'm now going to sign the Voting Rights Act. I mean, John Lewis took a beating, as did, a number of people. Amelia Boynton was beaten severely, both she and John Lewis. Neither of them are with us at this point these days. I mean, they passed away, both of them, over the last, John Lewis was last year, and Amelia Boynton, I think, was about a year or two before that in 2018 or thereabouts, maybe 2019. That this is really critical now that we use the leverage we've got right now at the very beginning of President Biden's administration. Is this is where we need to do this. We cannot afford to be reactive. So let's get marching, let's get moving, whatever way you can. Get organized and make sure you have a coalition. Join an organization and get inside the Democratic Party as well. You know, Jamie Harrison was named as the DNC chair. Start to lobby Jamie Harrison, excuse me. And you know, I would love to have seen Stacey Abrams in that position because I think she has a lot more going for her. Quite frankly, her track record is very strong, and I know that Jamie Harrison was the chair of the South Carolina Democratic Party. But come on, who's been bringing home the bacon lately? Stacey Abrams. I mean, she's the one that got all of these Democrats into office in Georgia, in her home state. Joe Biden won there thanks to her efforts. I mean, her incredible efforts. I mean, there are others too, but she was principal among them, as she was in the two Senate races in Georgia that went for Democrats. She should have been rewarded. She should have been rewarded. That's it's obvious that the politics get played. You know, the politics get played, and you know, certain people make certain decisions, and it's a clubhouse thing. And yeah, sure, you know, some Democrats have already, you know, they had it in their mind that win or lose, Jamie Harrison was going to be the next DNC chair. I'm sure that's probably how it worked out. Obviously, if he'd won his race, he wouldn't have been DNC chair, but you know what I mean. That was waiting for him if he lost to Lindsey Graham, which he did. He lost badly to him, which is why that's even more reason why I wouldn't have had him as DNC chair. Look, I'm not begrudging him personally. I think he ran a spirited race, but Stacey Abrams, my goodness, you've won. She's won. She helped win 3 elections for the Democrats in 2 months and raised so much money. She raised a hell of a lot of money. And I know the DNC chair has that responsibility. I know he's raised money too, has Jamie Harrison, but nobody's raised money like Stacey Abrams has. And she got shafted. But that's a whole other conversation. My whole point here is we've got to get proactive and we've got to do that now. We cannot wait until something comes up for us to then react because then we're behind the 8 ball. We need to get into the habit and the practice now of pushing legislators to do the right thing, pushing them and being organized and having a mobilization around that. So it's not just 1 or 2 people, but it's a cumulative effort so that we continue to put pressure on. We need to put pressure on the Speaker of the House, Speaker Pelosi. We want Medicare for all at least being brought to the floor for a vote. We want Green New Deal being brought to the floor for a vote. There's no reason why, with a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic White House, we can't get Green New Deal done. We can't get Medicare for all done. Why not? No reason. Well, you know, there's some obvious answers to that question, but there's no reason why it shouldn't be done with all of those branches being controlled by the Democrats in those areas. White House, House, and Senate. Come on. We've got to get this done, but it's down to us. If it's not for us voting, the Democrats wouldn't have the control of any of these branches. Make no mistake, they wouldn't have both houses of the legislature, and they certainly wouldn't have the White House if it wasn't for us, particularly Black women who voted like they had never voted before, but like they always vote in elections. High percentages. No one is more loyal to the Democratic Party than Black women. And it was Black women that lobbied Joe Biden to pick a Black woman, which he listened to, and it worked, right? It was Black women who were organizing like no tomorrow when it came to Joe Biden, and it worked. Joe Biden won states like Georgia, which a Democratic presidential candidate had not won in almost 30 years. And it worked when John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock won their Senate races in Georgia. First time in a long time you've had two Democratic senators coming out of Georgia. That's due to organizing and demographics as well, but lots of organizing. You can't just have demographics. You've also got to organize those demographics and push people in those demographics to vote. And that's what Black women predominantly did. And that is why you have what you've got. So I think that, again, Stacey Abrams should have been given that position at DNC, even if she's going to run for governor, say, in a year or two. Give her the position, give her more visibility, even more than she has now. So look, we've got work to do, folks. That's the whole point here. We've got a lot of work to do. Let's get it done. I know that President Biden is hitting the ground running here, and that's a good thing. But we've got to start pushing him. We've celebrated, we've cried, we've laughed, we've drank the champagne, we've had the cake, we've done all of that. And now it's time for us too to get to work. Don't forget to listen to the Politicrat Daily podcast every day, wherever you get your podcasts. A link will also be included in this video. Thank you.